Hi, friend. Welcome to our coffee chat. Today is day 27 of my cycle. And so today I am fresh out of fucks. Do you know sometimes how that happens where you'll go through the month and you will feel, at the beginning of the month, after your cycle, after you're done with your period, all of a sudden you kind of come out like this newly fresh 10 and you're just so full of life. Of course, I talk about hens because I have chickens. But you just come out and you feel so great and you want to go out and you want to do things and just live your life. And then suddenly it feels like somebody yanks the carpet out from under you and now you're feeling like a very different person. I consider myself a very ambitious woman and usually motivated. But these couple of days before the end of my cycle, it's usually like, no, I got nothing. So I felt like sitting down and having a cup of fresh out of fucks decaf coffee for this afternoon and sit down and have a little chat with you. I love that we have this kind of built-in time for reflection. But unfortunately, we live in a world that doesn't allow us to do it. We grow up hearing that or thinking that if we stop or if we lose our motivation or if we, decide, what, I'm done for the day, that there's something wrong with us, that we're lazy or not, we actually start to think like, maybe I'm not a motivated person. Maybe I'm not cut out for this work. Maybe I'm not fit to be an entrepreneur. Maybe I'm not meant to promote, right? Like we think these things and the problem is that it's not true. Those stories that we tell ourselves, it's not real. It's not real life. For most of us, especially those that consider ourselves, highly ambitious people, like we want to do things. And most of the time we are doing the things, right? We are getting shit done. But the problem is that when we have the lens or when we're unable to see how our cycles and our hormones, how they affect the way that we think, we really can get into this space of like catastrophizing things, especially right at the end of our cycle. I'm talking the day or 2 days before your bleed starts. I'd love to share with you a little bit of information about what's actually happening during that time. So that way you can understand that this kind of like pump the brakes feeling that you get or the, fuck it all and want to burn it all to the ground feeling that you get right before your period. It's actually, there's a purpose behind it. There's a reason for it. And it's not like you think in the moment that you're not enough or that there's something wrong with you. It's your hormones and it's your energy. Like, not just your like physical energy of like, oh, I'm tired or fatigued or I have a lot of energy. I mean like your energetic body, the part of you that is you. And so these two pieces have influence on you and we don't realize it. And so let's talk a little bit about what happens right before you start your period. So without getting into too much of the weeds, right, of how your hormones, you have two primary hormones that affect you throughout the month. The first half of your cycle is when estrogen, she's the one who's your go-getter, and she wants to help you go out into the world and create and do amazing things, right? And really, she's leading up to the main event of your cycle, which is ovulation. Once ovulation occurs around day 14 to 17-ish, somewhere around there, you all of a sudden shift gears and you go into a hormonal space where progesterone takes over. Now, progesterone is very different than estrogen. She likes things cool and calm and connected, and she very much wants to keep things quiet. She wants to have low stress and low pressure. And she's a little bit more like an introverted hormone, right? If your estrogen is like your extroverted, college, girl who wants to go out and party, right, and have a good time, then progesterone would be the kind of quiet, quintessential book nerd, okay, right? I happen to be like both of them. I am a chameleon that way, and I know many of you are too. But if you think about your hormones that way, then that's what's happening. So as you progress through the second half of your cycle after ovulation, so now we're talking about, day 16 through 28-ish, right? Progesterone comes and she kind of comes up and then she comes back down. And estrogen also comes up a little bit, but just a little bit, not as much as she did in the first one. And so that last couple of days, right before you're about to have your period, right? Progesterone, she comes up, she peaks around mid-luteal, and then she starts to decline, and then she just dips, okay? And when that happens, that is actually what prompts your uterine lining to shed. That's what actually starts your period. You shed your endometrial lining, the lining of your uterus, and so that built up blood that would have housed up a baby, right? If you didn't have any, if pregnancy did not occur, then you shed the lining and thus your period. So that drop in progesterone is actually what prompts that shedding. But if you think about it, I changed my thing. So you know what? I gotta get more comfortable, y'all. If you think about progesterone, if she comes in and she is, she's calm, she's cool, collected, and then all of a sudden she realizes, oh wait, we're not pregnant. And then she kind of is like, what the fuck? She kind of comes in and she's like, well, this isn't right. Well, fine. And so she kind of like pulls up. She says, I'm fresh out of fucks. They don't care, so I don't care either. And so she beats feet. She leaves town. And when that happens, suddenly you feel that energy. You feel it. You feel the energy of that, like, well, I guess I don't care either. And so your body is designed to do this because you have the gift. And once you go into your menstrual phase, once you start to bleed, now is the time for rest. Now is the time for bringing yourself, really slowing yourself down and stepping into a space of introspection, right? So, one could say that during menstruation, when your hormones are at their lowest level, so estrogen, progesterone, one could say that person that's there, that's a true essence of you. There's a quality there to the person that you are without the influence of these very powerful sex hormones that is the most grounded version of you. But unfortunately, this is what happens, is that we live in a world where we're told that we have to keep going all the time. We're told that we have to produce, that we have to show up and be motivated and do all the work all the time, right? Which is great. It's great in the first half of our cycle. The first half of the cycle, we are awesome at getting shit done, okay? We feel we're happy to do it. We're happy to take care of you and your neighbor's dog and house sit and babysit the kids on Tuesday night and clean the house and do, like, we're happy to, like, literally we're happy to do that. But the moment we switch over to our luteal phase after ovulation, now the internal driving system, the hormones that are predominant during that time, they want us a little bit more introspective. They want us a little bit more focused on our own work. They want us to focus and check and see, like, am I living in alignment with my values? Am I, is my environment set up the way that I want? Asking a lot of those kind of introspective type questions. But the world still expects us to be in our spring. They still expect us to be producing and it's not. Look, I don't think that what happened in terms of how, like, patriarchy came about. I mean, a lot of people have different theories about this, but down in my heart, I don't think there was any malice intent on that. I think men with their solar cycles, right? Their 24-hour cycles of a much simpler hormonal system. It's very complex still, don't get me wrong, but just specifically talking about testosterone and how that plays a part, which is basically like go-go juice, like, all the time, and they're getting that pumped into their system every 20 minutes. They are just designed to go every day. They get a whole new burst of it every morning, a lot. And then it kind of, comes down, and then they get a big old burst of it again and the next day. And so it's no big deal for them to get up and be like, okay, let's go. Let's do it. Let's go do the damn thing. And then they do the damn thing. And then they, kind of chill out. And then the next day they wake up and they say, okay, let's go do the damn thing, right? They created the workforce. They created the work world. And that meant that eventually, once women joined the workforce, which absolutely women should be able to do that, and we've done amazing work in building opportunities for women who want to explore what it looks like to be in that position. I would have never been able to become the person I was had I not been able to join the military. So absolutely, like, fantastic, amazing opportunities for women in the last, century and a half to change those things that have, changed the course of our lives. But the problem is that our bodies, our hormones, were never taken into consideration in that world. It's not their fault. It's not dudes' fault. Like, it's just they were doing what they know to do because that's what it felt right for them, right? Where they were doing the same shit every single day and didn't think, much about it. So women started going into the workforce, and we suddenly realized that, oh, this is really hard. Especially in the second half of our month, it's really hard. And we thought something was wrong with us. We took it personally. We didn't realize that the rhythm, the pace of growing companies and exporting products and all of these things and defending countries, right? We didn't realize that the pace was just designed after a different person's body chemistry. So we thought, because we're looking around and like, well, I can't keep up. What's wrong with me? There must be something wrong with me if I can't keep up. Or I want to keep up, so I'm going to push. I'm going to push harder. Leaving all of the societal expectations, and because there's another side of that conversation there when we're talking about women having to prove themselves because we live in a man's world. There's a whole thing that comes around that, and I feel like that's a conversation for another day. I just want to look at this from a purely a hormonal perspective, because it takes some of the blame and some of the guilt off of us when we understand that this pace of life was not, one could argue it was not designed for anybody, but technically, again, maybe another conversation, but really for women, we were meant to have a much slower pace throughout the second part of our cycle. We were never meant to be as so gung-ho as we are in the beginning, as we are in the end. The thing is that we have the immense capability of being able to do so much work. I mean, come on, sisters, we build freaking human beings with our body, okay? We are fucking magical. And we were never meant to do it so fast. We were never meant to live at this pace, to do the same thing every day, to eat the same thing every day, to sleep the same way every day, to work out the same way every day, to work the same way. Like, we were never meant to do that. Biologically speaking, we have hormones that have different requirements. Estrogen needs something very different than what progesterone needs. They don't want the same things. And that's why maybe it feels like you're kind of a different person at the beginning of your cycle than you are at the end of your cycle. And of course, I talk about the cycle as a whole, not just your period, right? Your cycle is not just your period. It's actually not even the most important part of your cycle, to be honest. It's a part of it, but it's not the whole. That would be like saying that springtime is the only season and all the other seasons don't count. It's like irrelevant. Well, that's not true. We have 4 seasons if you live in a temperate climate. I mean, we have 4 seasons, okay? So no matter where you live, but I digress, right? I take lots of tangents, and you know what? That's a part of my magic. Because here I am with you, sitting here, drinking my fresh out of flux coffee on day 27 of my cycle. Period's coming in a couple of days. I felt it today. I felt the shift today. And I feel like we're faced with a choice here. We're faced with the opportunity to take a look at how we're living our lives and ask the question, am I taking care of myself? From a biological perspective, like, am I taking care of my body the way that, excuse me, human being over here, having burps, okay? Am I taking care of myself the way that my body needs me to? Am I acknowledging that I need to slow down before my period? That my body's actually calling me back into that space? If you've been experiencing things like mood swings and PMS and painful periods and, or worse, like progressions of things like you know, polyps and fibroids and just any sort of, you know, polycystic ovarian syndrome, any sort of reproductive challenge, or even, you know, any hormonal challenges, you know, it's these things that are showing up, they aren't just arbitrary. It's not just genetics. It's not just, oh, I guess this is my plight. It's more than that. Your body is an incredibly intelligent, beautiful being. You know, I frequently tie and weave my spiritual beliefs into my teachings, because I feel like you can't unweave those things, you know. And I do believe I have a soul. I believe that, you know, people have a life that's inside of them that is a part it's a unique part, expression of the greater whole, of the greater consciousness or source or God or whatever language you want to use. It's all the same. But I believe that the body and the soul, they are intrinsically tied together. The soul has this beautiful desire to want to have an experience here on earth, but in order to do that, it has to have a body. Well, the body also has an intelligence in and of itself, but it has no mission without the soul. The two need each other. That's why I call the body the soulmate, or the soul's mate, or, you know, my soulmate. I know my soul's mate. Your body is here helping you have all the experiences here on earth too. If it wasn't for your body, you wouldn't be able to see a sunset, or pet a dog, or make love to your partner, or you know, hug a loved one. Your body allows you to have those experiences, but the problem is that we have forsaken our bodies for so long that we've forgotten that they're a gift, that they are magical, and that they also need care. See, our bodies they're as intelligent as they are, they need like care, like a newborn, right? A newborn has the beautiful potential to grow into a wonderful, you know, functioning, beautiful human being. But without love, nourishment, sleep, rest, consideration for stimulation, they can't thrive. Well, your body is still like that. It hasn't changed. Yeah, maybe you have more cells and you've gotten bigger, and maybe you got a smarter mouth, but guess what? Your body still needs care and love. And so if you're experiencing these challenges with your cycle, then it's not your body hating on you. I know, I remember I used to say that. I used to think that my body hated me. My periods were so bad. My cycles were so bad. Even while on birth control, I had horrible, horrible cramps. And I remember, and then, you know, going through infertility with, you know, after I got diagnosed with PCOS, like, I thought that I was broken. I thought that I was less than a woman. I thought that I did something wrong. And I thought that my body hated me. And I would let her know that a lot. I would say horrible things to my body. It wasn't until I started learning about what my body actually is to me and start rebuilding that relationship with myself that I realized that all these things that I was experiencing were not arrows being shot my way. They were my body trying to tell me that she needed some help. And that changed everything. Because the moment I realized that, then I was able to start listening and to care for her in the way that she needed. And then I actually took action that helped. And then I started feeling better. It was like magic. No longer was I fighting because I was trying to put myself in a system that was never made for me in the first place. Now, I just adapted my activities and the way that I took care of myself to where I was in my cycle. It was like magic. But I have to admit, it's not easy. It's not easy when the world tells us, oh, you're lazy if you're not doing anything, right? I still got that programming too inside my head. Even today, I was like, yeah, I got much done today, right? And I'm like, fresh out of the box. Oh, this is kind of a roundabout way of saying, be gentler on yourself. Understand that moment before your period, if you feel that space where you just want to walk away and just go hibernate, well, your body's just asking for some love. Your body's asking for you to slow down. Your body's asking for you to take a breather, right? I have it now that I basically reduce my schedule that couple of days before, and I have entire day blocked off tomorrow in my schedule where I'm not working. Apparently I needed to start it today, but that's all right. I got it planned for tomorrow. It's all good. But that's my point. Like, I understand I have the privilege of being a business owner and I get to plan my schedule out that way, but most of us have more control over our schedules than what we realize. And so if you're experiencing these challenges, these painful cycles and weight gain and feelings of burnout or just being exhausted all the time, there's a reason for that. And the cure to that is not another pill. It is not a shot. It is not some magical wand that you wave. It's simply coming back to yourself and learning about who this person is, what this body needs, and then actually taking action to support that. It's amazing how much freedom and love you experience when you start living this way. Now, if you are like watching this movie or this video, if you're watching this video, it's clearly not scripted, guys, because if you knew me in person, if you do know me in person, you know, like, I'm just kind of goofy that way. But if you're watching this video, right, and you're like, how the fuck do I do that? Well, I would love to invite you into my world. I have a great project that's coming up called BodyLove Bootcamp, and it's going to be launching in May, so not very long. We're getting close. And truly what BodyLove Bootcamp is meant to do is to help deprogram the idea that you have to be perfect in order to be loved. That you have to hustle and grind your entire, life until you're exhausted and body gives out on you. I built this program because I wanted to help women reconnect with their bodies, to get rid of the notions that the world has placed upon us that we are too much or not enough, and to actually teach women how to care for their bodies in a cyclical way, with their food, with their the way they eat, with their movement, and with their lifestyle. It's incredible what happens when you start moving and eating this way and taking care of your hormones, suddenly all those problems you were having start to melt away. That excess weight, the period pain, you know, it's incredible. Like one of my dear clients, Amy, she, when, you know, before she started working with me, she was experiencing periods that were 8 days long and would be horribly painful. And then we started working together, and now her cycles are beautiful and almost completely pain-free, and half the time what they were. There's a reason for that. I didn't give her a magic pill. I didn't have her go on birth control. There was none of that. She did the healing herself. I just helped her see. And that's what I want to kind of convey to you, that you're not missing anything. All of what you need is inside of you. And that's what I want to teach and help women learn about their bodies, to get a PhD in their bodies, to understand what their bodies need, where they're coming from, and to actually start taking action that cares for them. So that way they can live long, beautiful, energetic, connected, vibrant lives. So if you feel like that's something you might be curious in, then I will drop the link, or you can, I'll drop the link for the wait list, because like I said, the program's not launched yet, but it's coming. I'll drop the link for the wait list, and then also, depending on where you're watching this, you can drop a comment in the video below and just drop the word body love, and that's all one word, body love. And I'll send you the link so that way you can get on the wait list. I'm going to be having lots of exclusive things. There's going to be some exclusive teaching that comes up for women who are on that wait list, as well as some great goodies coming your way. So just so you know, there's no commitments or anything like that. You getting on the wait list doesn't mean you're committing to the program. It just means you're interested in hearing more about it. So make sure you drop a comment, drop a link, or drop a comment and I'll give you the link. And then I'll be happy to answer any questions or anything that you have. Of course, you can ask questions in the comments or anything, and I check every single one. I message back every single one. So I just want you to know that you are an extraordinary human being. If you sat here and you've watched all 30 minutes of me yapping, then I'm cheersing you with my yummy coffee, which is kind of now cold. And I just want you to know that you are capable of so many extraordinary things. If nobody's told you that recently, then I just want you to walk away with that. You're capable of some incredible, wonderful, beautiful things. But you can't pour from an empty cup. Women are meant to be poured into, because from that is an overflow of abundance of love and purpose and connection and joy that literally can change this world. But we can't do it if we're empty. We have to care for ourselves first. And this is a way to do it. So thank you so much for watching today. Or if you don't know, I'm Corey. I'm a registered nurse and a soon-to-be Fast Like a Girl certified coach. I've been training under Dr. Mindy Pelz. So if you know Dr. Pelz, I am soon going to be one of her coaches. So, but it is truly an honor to get to pour into you today, and sending you so much love, and a reminder that you are so worthy of your vibrant life.